الكون لايف نعم لا.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والنازعات غرقا والناشطات نشطا والسابحات سبحا فالسابقات سبقا فالمدبرات أمرا والسابحات سبحا فالسابقات سبقا فالمدبرات أمرا يوم ترجف الراجفة تتبعها الرادفة قلوب يومئذ واجفة أبصارها خاشعة يقولون أئنا لمردودون في الحافرة أإذا كنا عظاما نخرة قالوا تلك إذا كرة خاسرة فإنما هي زجرة واحدة فإذا هم بالساهرة هل أتاك حديث موسى إذ ناداه ربه بالواد المقدس طوى اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى وأهديك إلى ربك فتخشى فراه الآية الكبرى فكذب وعصى ثم أدبر يسعى فحشر فنادى فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى فأخذه الله مكان الآخرة والأولى فكذب وعصى ثم أدبر يسعى فحشر فنادى فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى فأخذه الله مكان الآخرة والأولى إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
Yes, delete this. It's gonna be like not now. Oh, it's cutting out. See, it's cutting out. Look, it's cutting out after.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم سفوة الله. السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث علي أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا صار الله وابن صالح والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك أشهد أنك قد حكمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأسلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلحمة ثيابها، وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين، وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الذقي الهادي المهدي، وأشهد أن الأمة وأشهد أن أئمة من ولدك كلمات التقوى وأعلم الهدى والعروات الوسطى والحجة على أهل الدنيا، وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبي بكم موقن بشرائع الدين وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وعمري لعمركم، متبع صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت ذلك فرضيت به. زيارة شهداء كربلاء. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه، السلام عليكم يا أسفياء الله وأعداءه، السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الناصر، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله، بأبي أنتم وأمي تبتم وتابت الأرض التي في حاجتكم وفزتم فوضا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. زيارة حاجة عباس عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح مطيع لله ولرسوله، وأشهد أنك قد جحدت ونصحت وصبرت حتى أتاك اليقين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين، وألهاكهم بدراجك الجحيم. صلوات. I now invite Sayyid Muhammad Taqi Naki Shah to the member for a short youth lecture with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Salawat, salawat, salawat. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد نصركم الله ببدر وأنتم أذلة فاتقوا الله لعلكم تشكرون. Today I'd like to be talking about the topic of Imam Hussein's children and his marriages and his impact before Karbala. So I'll start off with the basis of Imam Hussein's marriages were all on the basis of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So we start off, Imam Ali, how many wives did he have? He had 9. Most of them were widows, so he had 9 wives. So the first was Bibi Fatima the Zahra. He had Amama, the niece of Fatima. He married Khawla bin Ja'far, the mother of Muhammad bin Hanafiya. He married Fatima bint Hizam al-Kalabiya, otherwise known as al-Banin. He married Asma bint Umays. He married Layla. He married Ansayin Thaqafiya. He married As-Sahba, and he married Mahya, the daughter of Umar bin Qais. Imam Hussein, however, he married 7 women, all on the basis of Imam Ali alayhi salam. The first of them was Layla, the daughter of Abi Murrah, the son of Urwa bin Mas'ud Thaqafi. Layla's grandfather, from one side, was Urwa bin Mas'ud. Urwa bin Mas'ud was known as the Mu'min of Al Yasin in the time of Rasulullah. So that's Layla's grandfather from one side. From the other side, Layla's grandfather was Abu Sufyan, because Layla's mother, Maymuna, was the daughter of Abu Sufyan. That's why on the 10th of Muharram, Yazid said to his soldiers, "Go and tell my cousin." Because Layla's first cousin is Muawiyah, and Layla's uncle is Muawiyah, and her first cousin's Yazid. So Layla, Imam married her, and she had Ali al-Akbar, the eldest of Imam Hussein's sons. The historians are unanimous. Most of the famous historians say that Ali al-Akbar is the eldest son of Imam Hussein. That's unanimous. There are some historians who say that Zain al-Abidin is older than Hazrat Ali Akbar, but in my personal opinion, and the personal opinion of many of the famous historians, they say Ali al-Akbar is older than Zain al-Abidin. That's number 1. Number 2, Imam Hussein married Rabab. Rabab's father was originally a Christian. He converted to the religion of Islam. So Rabab had 2 other sisters that Imam Ali married the first sister by the name of Mahiyat. Imam Hassan married the next sister whose name was Hayat. Then Imam Hussein married Rabab. That's number 2. Rabab had Hazrat Ali al-Asghar and Bibi Sakina. Then the third wife of Imam Hussein would be Shaharbanu. Shaharbanu's original name was Shahzanan. Shahzanan in Arabic means Sayyidatun Nisa. When Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib chose Shaharbanu to marry Imam Hussein, he said change her name from Shahzanan to Shaharbanu. Why? Because Imam Ali said, there is only one Sayyidatun Nisa, and that's Fatima Zahra. And Shaharbanu had Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. Then the 4th wife was Ishaq bin Talha. Ishaq bin Talha was the original wife of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. In the will and the wasiyah of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, when he was about to die, he told Imam Hussein, "Marry my wife as she is a good woman. I do not want her to be left as a widow to no one to protect her." That's number 4. And the 3 other wives, the historians differ over. So now if we talk about the children of Imam Hussein had 7 sons and he had 4 daughters out of the 7 marriages. The most famous of his sons was Imam Zain al-Abidin, Hazrat Ali Akbar, and Hazrat Ali Asghar. So now if we look at the 3 utmost of Imam Hussein's sons, as I mentioned earlier, the historians are unanimous, and they say Hazrat Ali Akbar is the eldest of Imam Hussein's sons. Then we have Imam Zain al-Abidin, then we have Ali al-Asghar. Now, Ali al-Asghar, there's a difference between Ali al-Asghar and Abdullah al-Radhi. If you go to the Iraqi or the Iranian or the Lebanese community, they would call Ali al-Asghar Abdullah al-Radhi, as they would say Abdullah al-Radhi is the 6-month-old child.
But if you go to the Indian or the Pakistani communities, they would say that Ali al-Asghar is a 6-month-old child. Because Ali al-Asghar was a 6-month, and that's an Indo-Pak trend. I think what happened was there was confusion between the books about the age of Ali al-Asghar and Abdullah Radhi. Both are sons of Imam Hussain, that is no doubt. However, Ali al-Asghar was either 7 to 12 at the age of, he was 7 to 12 on the 10th of Muharram, and those are unanimous historians. So if we go to the four daughters he had Sukaina and Ruqayya. Now, even the historians, they say Sukaina and Ruqayya are two different personalities. The historians say Ruqayya, who died in Sham. They would say Sukaina grew old and she lived a long life. However, there's a narration saying that Sukaina bint al-Hussein, she became older and she was a poet and she was a singer, etc. But we reject this hadith. That was Sukaina bint Khalid bin Zubayriya. The person to narrate this is Mustahab bin Zubayr. And he says that the narration that I mentioned, he says that Sukaina bint Hussein, she became older and she was a poet and a singer, but however, we reject this hadith. So, in my personal opinion, Sukaina and Ruqayya are two different personalities. Then we have Fatima, or some people know as Bibi Sughra, who was in Medina, when Imam Hussain left in Medina. And there's a narration saying that Imam Hussain would say that none of my daughters daughter was Zainab. So now if we look at the impact of Imam Hussain outside of Karbala, I'd like to mention a short story. The story is about a Syrian man and Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The Syrian man came to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and Imam Hussain, this was after Imam Ali was martyred. Imam Hussain was 36 at the time. At this story, Imam Hussain was 36. Now imagine someone from Syria comes to you and they say to you, what's your name? And he said, my name is Hussain. And you, son of who? He said, son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, may Allah curse you and curse your father, Ali ibn Abi Talib. If someone talks to us like that, how would we reply? We would reply rudely back to them. We would answer back. We would be very rude and hard-hearted to the person. However, Imam Hussain is teaching us that we should be humble towards them and not to fall to their level. We should not fall to their level. And Imam Hussain then said to the person, is the wind of this area hurting you? Or have you had a disagreement with your family? Or do you not have shelter to protect you from the weather? Or do you not have clothes? If you do not have any of these things, Imam Hussain said, come to my house and I'll provide you with these things. The person then started to cry, and he said, oh Abu Abdullah, I cursed your father in front of you, and this is how you reply back to me. Then the Imam said, this is the way of Ahlul Bayt and Al Muhammad. So this clearly shows that if someone is rude or hard-hearted to us, we should reply generously towards them and be kind towards them. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Please recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Again, tonight we're here for the eve of the 6th of Muharram. Tonight we'll be commemorating the martyrdom of Ali Asghar. There will be Bramti of Jul Ali Asghar, which will come into the mental, inshallah, again in the same, follow the same pattern. It will come in from one door, out the other. We request you to go up one by one and do your salams from a distance, whilst maintaining social distancing. Same in the ladies' hall. When the taboot does come, it will be put onto the side. Please do go up accordingly in a good fashion that you are still socially distanced from everybody else. So tonight we'll be commemorating the martyrdom of Ali Asghar, the 6-month-old baby of Imam al-Hussain. He is known as Bab al-Hawaij, so please do remember each other in your du'as tonight, and do ask from Bab al-Hawaij, Ali Asghar, and remember all those who are ill and everybody in your du'as, inshallah. A short recitation before I welcome our esteemed guest. This is a recitation to lullaby from Ali Asgar's mother Rabab. To this world a stranger, danger surrounds you from every side. Too young to be walking, talking, too young to stand up and fight. Seeing you from the tents, torments, it hurts to see you get hurt. Imam Hussain went to quench you, but Harmala quenched your thirst, my, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. I pictured you growing, sowing seeds of happiness in me. Ali, for when you smile, my child, my worries vanish from me. My weakness and my strength both rest in his holy ovule. My strength and my weakness, breathless, you're even too young to play. My, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. How can your mum explain her pain? How did my arms let you leave, knowing I may never, ever breathe in the air that you breathe? Ali, when in my care, my dear, I'd whisper when around you, fearful that I'd wake you, ache you, now only aches around you. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali. How can my world not shake, earthquake? How can the ground remain calm when Hussein was shaken, broken, holding my world in his arms? His arms were your cradle, angel. Your blanket was the sun's heat. I watched with my sorrow an arrow, rocking my baby to sleep. My, Ali Asghar, Ali go. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Again, just a reminder that the boat of the Julab al Yasr would be is the brand deal tonight. So inshallah, when it does come out with the one-way system again, following the same pattern of last night, I urge you all to keep social distancing and do salam from afar. And same goes for the ladies, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And I call upon our esteemed guest, Sheikh Ibrahim Ansari, to the member of the loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. A second salawat for the love of Imam Hassan and Hussaini. And a third and final salawat for the love of Fatima Zahra, who is present in our majlis today, inshallah, with the loudest of your voices. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليه وعلى آل بيتك الطاهرين. ما خاب والله من تمسك بكم، وأمنا من لجأ إلى حصنكم سادتي. سيدي يا أبا عبد الله، يا عبرة كل مؤمن وآت الأمة غريب، يا مظلوم كربلاء، بأبي وأمي من ذبح من القفا، بأبي وأمي من ذبح عطشانا، يا ابن شبيب إن يوم الحسين أطرح جفوننا، أسبل دموعنا ذا العزيزنا. سيدي يا أبا عبد الله، يا ليتنا يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Enlighten your majalis and bless this gathering with a salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. After discussing the topic of salah yesterday, talking about the reasons of salah, some of the secrets of salah, why salah was put there, we discussed the narration from Imam al-Sadiq that if it is accepted, everything else is accepted, and if it is rejected, everything else is rejected. And we said that it is most certainly not the pure act of standing up to pray 5 times a day that could possibly mean the acceptance of salah. It must have an effect on our life, and we've concluded with the narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi afdalu salati wa salam, where he said that if you want to know if your salah is accepted, then look at how much evil it has forbidden you from. As much evil it has forbidden you from, that is exactly how much your salah was accepted. However, yesterday we were in a more negative light talking, not necessarily negatively about salah, but we talked about what makes our salah not accepted, correct? Today I want to go from a different light, because there's a surah in the Holy Quran called Surah Al-Mu'minun, which starts with what? It starts with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Surely the mu'minun, aflaha. This aflaha, instead of translating it, I want to explain it. It comes from the word falah. What does this mean? This means that gates have been opened up, filled with bounties and filled with blessings. Now in the tafsir, when it talks about it, it talks about that this gate that opens with bounties and blessings in this world and in the hereafter. So this gate of bounties and blessings has opened up for who? The believers, the mu'minun. Which kind of believers? The next ayah specifies what type of believers. Remember when we talked about the other ayah yesterday? وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. It promised hellfire to those who pray. Here it says no. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Which ones? الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Those who are humbly submissive in their salah. So that shows us that if we attain humbleness in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we become submissive in front of Allah azza wa jal, what does it create for us? Gateways of bounties and of blessings. And that would possibly mean that it means the kamal, the completion of our prayer. Now the question is this: how do we attain khushu' and how do we attain humbleness, and where is that? The khushu' in general, so every time I say khushu', it means being humble towards Allah or submissive. Inshallah, I think this is a key word. It's important to keep that in mind. Khushu' means it's to be humbly submissive towards Allah Azza wa Jal. To attain khushu', it is in the heart. It is not an outer quality. It is a quality inside the heart. And I promise to start in the heart from talking about the heart from today. So the first thing we want to address is the khushu' of the heart. When the heart becomes humble, when the heart becomes submissive towards who? Towards Allah Azza wa Jal. How do we attain this khushu' and salah? Because it says that those who are in their prayers, humbly submissive. How do we attain that? This could be in many different ways. We will address some of them, inshallah. And for the rest, I think you will be able to apply the whole idea of how to attain that. One thing that we can do so that we make our heart more connected in our prayer and more connected towards Allah Azza wa Jal is to stay away from sinning. We said yesterday that prayer forbids us from evil, meaning from sinning. However, the act of praying alone doesn't mean that it becomes a brick wall against every single sin. No, prayer is there to remind you of there being a creator. It reminds you of Allah Azza wa Jal. It makes you remember Allah Azza wa Jal, and hence its effect should be to stop sinning. And at the same time, when you are about to approach a sin, when you are about to perform a sin, you remember Allah Azza wa Jal. By cleaning this heart from sins, it will slowly become more humble towards Allah Azza wa Jal because it will purify it. As simple as that. Another thing that can make us more humble and more submissive towards Allah Azza wa Jal is by remembering or thinking of the secrets of Salah, and we discussed this yesterday. We mentioned a few secrets of Salah, a few reasons of Salah. Who can remember at least one of them? Anyone? Should I start you off? I think someone said something. I'll start you off. We said dhikrullah. Yes? The first was to remember Allah Azza wa Jal. What was another one? To keep us away from sinning. Another one, a connection between us and Allah Azza wa Jal. Another one, it was to remove arrogance from a specific person. The person who prays towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it removes arrogance from them. These are all reasons behind Salah. And there are many other reasons. Brothers, sisters, I urge you, this majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, yes, I might have prepared some hadith that I want to share with my brothers and with my sisters, but at the end of the day, many of those who are sitting in front of me are much more knowledgeable than me and able to research. Go back home, research. Maybe today what I am sitting here doing, I'm not here to teach and I'm not here to lecture. I'm here to share some thoughts that I have read about, that I have compiled in a specific way, that may be a push for you to go read more about that subject. We proved the justice of Allah Azza wa Jal. Did you question it after? Question it after. Go and read into the books. We proved the need for guidance. Did you question it? Go and read. We proved Imam. One of the uncles actually yesterday, he came and he started discussing with me about the lecture of Imam. He said, you said this, and this, but I saw this, and that. I said, okay, no problem. And we had the discussion. It was good. It means he heard what I said. It made him go back, made him question whatever I said, and made him do his own research. I'm not saying to come and discuss everything with me. It can be a group discussion. But this is the point of the Majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. It isn't for you to just sit here for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, and then go back home as if nothing was said. And whatever I say is nothing compared to what the ulama have said. In fact, whatever I share is the limited things that I have taken from the ulama. So make sure that when you go back home, you read more about these things. When you want to be more submissive and humble in your salah, and I say look back at the secrets of salah, make sure to apply that by going back, look at the secrets of salah. Where was it there? Go look at the little secrets about salah. Why is there sujood? Why is there ruku'? What do these things mean? Yes, yesterday we mentioned the sujood, one of the reasons to remove arrogance, correct? What else is there? Go and search. This is a duty. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi afdalu salati wa salam. I think for his name it deserves a louder salawat. Imam al-Sadiq says that if a young man was to come to me and they have not attained from the religion any type of knowledge, I would hurt their back with how much I would whip them. The Imam doesn't want to hurt young men. He's trying to teach us a lesson. It is our duty. It is our duty to go out and search. It is our duty. We don't. You see, when Nabiullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with the message of Islam, many of them said what? Many of them said, no, the religion of my forefathers was different. Do we want to be like those in Jahiliyyah who said, no, because my father believed this, I will believe this? No, I am a Shi'i because I believe in Tashayyu', because I believe that there is La ilaha illallah. I believe Muhammadun Rasulullah. I believe Aliyun Waliullah. And this should be the belief. Go back and search. This is very important. So the second way to be submissive towards Allah Azza wa Jal, more humble, know the secrets of Salah. What else can help us in being more humble and submissive in our salah? Choosing the place in which we pray. This has a very big effect. This is why you find it is makruh to actually pray in front of an open door. It is makruh to pray in front of a mirror. It is makruh to pray in front of a picture. Why is that? Because these are all distractions. Now, if you're distracted, can you have that khushu' and salah? There is no way. Find a place, even if it is a corner in your home, one corner that doesn't have any sort of distractions, and make that corner the place in which you pray. That means that whenever you are ready to go to pray, what are you going to do? You're going to go to walk to that place which you have made your prayer place. Correct? What difference can that make? The prayer mats we use, find a nice, clean, tidy, humble prayer mat. The more pictures and the more writings it has on it, when we are in Salah, we are looking at the turba and suddenly we see, do you know what? I think this line could have been more straight, or the curve is a bit wrong over here. And we start assessing how they made that prayer mat. These are distractions. When we are in our Salah, we are literally looking for a reason to be distracted from Salah. And this is the reality of it. So the more we can prepare the environment to not be distracted, the more we will have a connection with Allah when we pray. The more humble we will become in front of Allah, the more submissive we will become in front of Allah. What else? Make your salah and do your mustahabbat. Before I get into that, make sure the wajibat are 100%, then get into the mustahabbat. This is for those who are 100% certain on their wajibat. So don't come and start learning the dua of wudu when your wudu is not 100% correct yet. There is no point of that because your wudu is incorrect to begin with. So what is the point of learning the dua of wudu? Don't come and learn every single mustahab salah and then start praying every single mustahab salah and do every single mustahab act within salah without being able to learn Surah Al-Fatiha to recite it correctly, without being able to perform the act of sujood correctly. You find, for example, many people when it comes to the act of sujood, I've seen this many times, their feet, for example, would be in the air. Why? It's also more comfortable if you have your toes on the floor. But some, I've seen times where they cross their legs in sujood. Make sure this is done properly before you have your long sajda at the end of the salah, so that your sujood is at least complete. Now, once that is complete, come to your mustahabbat. Of them, for example, if you come and you want to pray, and as you are approaching your prayer, you perform the adhan, not necessarily out loud. Do it to yourself. So we said we just put a corner in our homes that is for prayer. As I am going to that corner, let me perform the adhan just to myself in my head. The iqamah, let me perform the iqamah. Do you know what effect this can have on you? Let's look at the adhan. You say Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. It reminds you of the greatness of Allah Azza wa Jal. That is firstly. Secondly, you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. You remember that there is no God but Allah, and this is the person that you are going to. It helps with your niyyah, it helps with your intention. Yesterday we discussed the intention and how it must be towards Allah alone. As you're approaching, you remember that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not about to associate anything with Allah. Then you say, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. You're preparing your aqa'id. How? Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah. These aqa'id are the ones that have caused you to stand up for prayer. You're reminding yourself of your belief. Why am I going to pray? It's a question every time you can have. Every time you go on the prayer mat, you can ask, why am I about to pray? This answers you. I pray because Allahu Akbar. I pray because there is no God but Allah. I pray because Muhammad Rasulullah ordered me to. I pray because Ali and Waliullah, he kept this message alive. Then Hayya ala salah. Hasten towards what? Prayer. You remind yourself. After all of that, okay, now that I know all of that, let me hasten towards prayer. Then why would I hasten towards prayer? Hayya ala al-falah. Qad aflaha al-mu'minun. Same word. Falah, aflaha. Aflaha is past tense. Falah is the general tense of it. The gateway of bounties has been opened through what? Through prayer. What else? Hayya ala khair al-amal. Hasten towards the best of deeds. Then you remind yourself again, Allah is the greatest. And then you say, there is no God but Allah. Now imagine if every time you stand up for prayer and you perform this adhan or this iqamah, one of them or both, what effect can it have on your prayer? It can have a great effect. Maybe not the first time. Second time, third time, fourth time, maybe after 10 times it will. After 15 times, no problem. But try. What else? After salah or during salah, the last sajda has many beautiful du'as. If you don't understand them, look at their translations and then memorize them. And then start memorize two, for example, and alternate between them. So when you pray Dhuhr, you recite one of them. In Asr, you recite the other. In Maghrib, you recite one. In Isha, you recite the other. It gives you a different type of feeling. After Salah, you know, if you were to pray Salat al-Jama'ah, in the Iraqi community, for example, we would recite the ayah after Salat al-Jama'ah. One of the believers would recite the ayah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala al-Nabi, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. After prayer, this ayah is recited, then the community will do 3 salawat. I think, from what I remember, in the Pakistani community, you say La ilaha illallah, if I'm correct, and then you perform 3 salawat after as well. Either way, there's some sort of salawat after. Now, this salawat that you perform after salah, why does it only have to be when you're in salat jama'ah? When you're at home and you have just finished your salah, perform 3 salawat. Look at the difference it can have. After you finish your salah, perform tasbihatul zahra. It doesn't take much time. Mentioning tasbihatul zahra, how much did Rasulullah love Fatimatul Zahra? A lot, correct? When you love someone so much, would you not always love to give them the best you can give them? Tasbihatul Zahra was what? A gift from Rasulullah to Fatimatul Zahra. The best of gifts Rasulullah would give Fatimatul Zahra, whom he loved so much that she was a part of him, he would give to Tasbihatul Zahra. If there was anything greater than Tasbihatul Zahra, he would have gifted it to Fatimatul Zahra. How great is this tasbihah? Perform it after every salah. Look at the difference it can make. These are the mustahabbat. Now, you need, as we mentioned, consistency. This is another thing that helps with consistency in both the times of salah. So you're constant. Every time there is Dhuhr, Asr, you pray all 5 salawat, you don't miss any, consistency, and you perform all these other acts also consistently. Because the moment you do it for a day or 2, then you stop for a day, then you carry on for 3 days, then you stop, the feeling starts going. So every time you're getting the feeling again, all of a sudden, you're like, you know what? Let me start again. And you start from square one. That's literally what happens. So you need to be careful in consistency. Okay, after consistency, what else do we have? What else can help us? Plan your day around salah. Don't let salah be an inconvenience in your day which you have to find 5 minutes for. There's a big difference in that. Salah is not a meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where every day you're like, do you know what, let me look at my calendar. Okay, let me look at my diary. 5 minutes. At 3:15, I might have 5 minutes to pray. That's not salah. No, you plan your day around salah. You know salah is at 1:15. You do everything before 1:15. Make sure from 1:15 you have 5-10 minutes. And then after that, you carry on with the rest of your day. For example, making it your daily planner. Also, don't attend salah while you have a lot on your mind. This is easier said than done. I agree. This is much easier said than done. However, if you, for example, have to make some payments, or if you need to do a specific type of shopping, or you need to do whatever you need to do, and you need to get it done, you have some work to complete, you know that salah is at 1 p.m., for example, you set your goal that by 12:45, I am done with this. And you have 15 minutes to do whatever you want, a bit of leeway in case it takes longer, as well as getting ready for salah with all the other things that we mentioned. These will all have an effect on your khushu'. These will all have an effect on being more humble towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because what have we just done? We have prioritized salah over everything else. It will help us. The last thing that will help us in remembering salah is to realize who we are standing in front of. Realize we are nothing but an atom in front of this great creator. Have you guys seen, by the way, there was this picture that went around. I think it was of the sun or the moon, one of them. And then there was like a little dot. You can find it on Google if you search for it. There was like a little dot and it said, this is Earth. And you can see how small it was compared to the sun or the moon. Now imagine us. We look at this building. This building to us is big. Then we look up to the sky, mashallah. Then we look, the earth is so much bigger than that. Then you look, the universe is so much bigger than that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bigger than anything that you can imagine. What are we compared to Allah? Remember that. You know, when you do that, then this is what Imam Zain al-Abidin would apply in his life. When he comes to his wudu, he would start shaking, his face would go pale. They told him, "Oh Imam, what is this?" He told them, "Do you know who I am preparing to meet? Do you know who I'm preparing to stand in front of in a second?" When he would recite Salah, it is mentioned in our narration, he would recite Surah Al-Fatiha, he would get to the ayah Malik Yawmuddin, the owner of the day of judgment. The narration says when he gets to that stage, when he gets to that ayah, he would repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until we feel like he was about to die. Realizing the meaning, Maliki Yawmuddin. What are we? This is Allah who owns the day of judgment. We need to remember that when we stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am standing in front of Allah talking about myself. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I'm filled with sin. What kind of tawfiq, success did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me that with all my sins, He allowed me to stand on my prayer mat? What kind of success and tawfiq is this? And with that, even with that being said, Allah gave me this success, and I'm filled with that sin, even yet I would stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I would do salah as quickly as I can, get it over and done with, and then go back to whatever I want to, and delay the time of salah, and. Who are we? Honestly, this is something to think about. Realize who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. The ayah that we started with, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, قل, say, هذه سبيلي, this is my path or way. أدعو إلى الله, I call towards Allah. على بصيرة, with insight, but keep this idea of basira, we will get to it. على بصيرة, with insight. أنا, I, ومن اتبعني, and those that followed me. What does this ayah mean? Firstly, when we come to the tafsir, according to Allama Tabatabai, in Tafsir al-Mizan, may Allah bless his soul, he says that sabili, my path over here, means the path of Tawheed, the way of Tawheed, which was the message of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as well as all the other prophets. What was it? Tawheed. And this means Tawheed. Sabili means Tawheed. Ad'u ila Allah. I, so the Prophet, call towards Allah. Call towards Allah in what? In Tawheed. Ana, ala basiratin, with insight. Ana, I, and those who followed me. And those who follow me. Imam al-Baqir alayhi afdalu salati wa salam, he says that this ayah means Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Amir al-Mu'minin, and the people after Amir al-Mu'minin. The awsiya after Amir al-Mu'minin. They call towards the Tawheed. However, we are also people that call towards Tawheed, since we consider ourselves to be what? Followers of the Holy Prophet. Because he says, and those that followed me. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq shows us a beautiful way. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He shows us a beautiful way to do this. He says, call towards us, and when he says call towards us, he doesn't mean towards the Imams. The Imams don't want people to follow them. They want the ultimate message. They want Tawheed to be followed. Call towards us through your actions, not through your tongues. So just through our actions in our day-to-day lives, we should call towards the Imams. Okay. Now this issue of basira, this word basira, what does it mean? Basira means the sight of the heart. Basira comes from the word basara. Basara means to see. If I say basar, it means the sight of the eye. If I say basira, it means the sight of the heart. This is what basira means. Now, this sight of the heart, Rasulullah is saying that I am calling towards Allah with having that sight of the heart. The sight of the heart is the sight that can see truth and the sight that can see falsehood. This is the sight of the heart. And it is also the sight that can see far away. And this is why you find in the narration from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi afdal salatu wassalam, he says that if the veil is uncovered, I will not increase in certainty. Because he used to see with that basira, the sight of the heart. Now, how do we make sure that the sight of the heart reaches its potential? Rasulullah says, وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. There's another thing that we need to mention, that there is a dua, a very beautiful dua, where you say, أَرِنِ الْحَقَّ حَقًّا فَأَتَّبِعَهُ. Show me truth as truth so that I can follow it. وَالْبَاطِلَ بَاطِلًا فَأَجْتَنِبَهُ. And falsehood as falsehood so that I can stay away from it. وَلَا تَجْعَلْهُ عَلَيَّ مُتَشَابِهًا. And don't make it look similar to me. Why? فَأَتَّبِعُ هَوَى نَفْسِي بِغَيْرِ هُدًى مِنْكَ. Then I will start following my own desire with no guidance from you, O Allah. Very beautiful dua. So the first way to strengthen this basira, the sight of the heart, is through dua. Dua, however, with no action means nothing. According to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, he says that dua with no action is like the one who tries to shoot with no arrow. If you have a bow and arrow and you have no arrow, dua with no action is exactly the same. There needs to be some sort of action. What is this action? The first action that we can do to prepare the heart for insight of the heart, to open its eyes, is by attaining khushu' and salah. Why? Because we realized just now when we discussed salah over the past 2 nights, we realized that everything revolves around salah. My hasanat and my sayyat, the good deeds and the bad deeds I do, revolve around salah. The purification of my life revolves around salah. Remember we mentioned purification of life yesterday? It revolves around salah. I can't wear something that is stolen. I must have permission to whatever I wear. I must have permission to the place I pray in. I must have permission of using the water that I need to use for wudu. My body needs to be clean and pure at all times if I want to perform salah. So whoever wants to perform salah in its complete form must have a pure life. A pure life. There are certain sins that do not allow your salah to be accepted, correct? If you don't help others, your salah is not accepted. If you are showing off to people, your salah is not accepted. If you do not allow charity to reach its people, your salah is not accepted. Our life revolves around salah. It is the pillar of our religion. So the first step is to try to apply these steps that we discussed at the start for your salah. This will slowly make your heart more humble and more ready for Allah Azza wa Jal, and it will help with the insight of the heart, with the sight of the heart. Khushu' in salah. Then, what after that? Following the example of Rasulullah. In the Quran it says, indeed, there is a great example in the Messenger of Allah. We need to take that example literally in every single act of our day, in terms of our akhlaq and how we treat people, in terms of our ibadah. We follow Rasulullah, we follow Amir al-Mu'mineen, we follow Fatima Zahra. These are people that have been set as examples for us. By doing that, we will reach basira, because the ayah is telling us that. The ayah is saying, وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي, and those that follow me, they will also go towards Allah with what? With basira, with sight of the heart. So firstly, through dua, oh Allah, allow us to see truth as truth and falsehood as falsehood. You know Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi afdal salatu wassalam, do you know what he says? He says that the sight of the eye is not enough and means nothing without the sight of the heart. The sight of the eye. We see many things, no problem. But if your heart can't see truth from falsehood, there is no need. There's no point of whatever you see. It is this sight that is important. This sight is important. And we train it Through following these examples, through dua, through preparing ourselves for salah, as it will be the easiest and the first steps. We take baby steps, yes? It will be the first steps that we can start towards this khushu' and towards this basira, the sight of the heart, and make sure to implement the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt in our life. A person who did this amazingly is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Not yet, Habibi, Jazakallah khair. I still have a few points to make, inshallah. I won't take much time. Jazakallah khair. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Imam Zainul Abidin would say, may Allah have mercy upon my uncle. May Allah have mercy upon my uncle Abbas. What is it about him that you're making this dua? لَقَدْ كَانَ نَافِذَ الْبَصِيرَ. He had the most intense sight of the heart. What did Al-Abbas reach? He had the most intense sight of the heart. Look at the ziyarah of Imam al-Sadiq to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. I just want to mention a few lines from ziyarah, inshallah, so that we can understand Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and who he truly is. Look at the ziyarah. Of course, the ziyarah first starts with Salamullah, the salams of Allah, and his angels who are close to Allah on Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He didn't put a specific time frame. Means on a 24-hour period, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending blessings upon Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. What status is this? What status? Look at what the ziyarah says after a few lines. He says, أشهد لك بالتسليم والتصديق والوفاء والنصيحة. I testify to you of submission and honest acceptance and sincerity. To who? To the descendants of the prophets. So first of all, he had this acceptance, he had this submissiveness. Look at what happened after. You go on further into the ziyarah, and then it tells you that in the ziyarah, it tells you now you may enter. You enter, you take a few steps towards the shrine of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. You say, Assalamu alayka ayyuha al-abdu salih. Peace upon you, O good servant of Allah. Abdu salih, good servant, is a manzila, it's a status that you reach. The Imam is witnessing that Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas reached that status. Assalamu alayka ayyuha al-abdu salih. How did he reach that status? The Imam would say, Al-Mutiya lillahi wa li rasulih. The one Al-Muti'u lillahi wa li rasulih. The one who obeyed Allah and his prophets. Wa Amir al-Mu'mineen. And Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussain. This obedience made him, true obedience, made him reach that stage. Then what does the Imam say? And this is the part, look at the Imam, how he was preparing us all for this. This is the part that we discussed today. وَأَنَّكَ مَضَيْتَ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ مِّنْ أَمْرِكَ. And you have left this world with what? Basira. With insight, with the sight of the heart. With sight of the heart. How did he reach that? Look at the Imam, he says that. مُقْتَدِيًا بِالصَّالِحِينَ مُتَّبِعًا لِلنَّبِيِّينَ. How did he reach that? By following the examples of the righteous ones. And by following the prophets. What did the ayah say? The ayah says, وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. And the one that followed me has the sight of the heart. The Imam Sadiq is saying that you reach the sight of the heart by following the examples of the good servants and by following the examples of the prophets. And yes, you find that Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, the only thought he had on the day of Ashura was religion. The only thing he thought about. Religion. The sight of the heart, truth from falsehood. Which is why when he would sit by the river, he would say, "O self, do not humiliate yourself before Hussein." This is Hussein who is thirsty and you want to drink from the cold water, you know what he says to himself? By Allah, this is not the acts of my religion. He didn't say this isn't how I was raised. No. By Allah, this isn't the acts of my religion. أجركم الله. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas comes to Abu Abdullah al-Hussaini. He says to him, "Oh Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, my heart has become tight. Allow me to go into the battlefield." Imam al-Hussain, his companions were gone. Banu Hashim were gone. No one was left except for Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He says to him, "Brother, if you go, my army will collapse." What army, O Abu Abdullah? Brother, if you go, my army will collapse. That and the cries from the tents will be heard. Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Thirst is killing us. Imam al-Hussein would look at Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He said to him, "If you really have to, then go and get some water for the family." Ajarakum Allah, he promised the children water. He would go by the river, he would sit by that river, hold some water in his hand, bring it close to his face. Then he would throw it back into the river shouting, "Ya nafsu min ba'd al-Hussain huni." فبعده لا كنت أن تكوني هذا حسين وارد المنون وتشربين بارد المعين. Oh self, do not humiliate yourself before Hussein, as you are nothing after him. This is Hussein approaching death while you want to drink from the cold water. By Allah, this is not the acts of my religion. Ajarakum Allah, he would fill up the water pouch, then he would make his way towards the tent. Umar ibn Sa'd alayhi la'in Allah would say, "If the water reaches Hussein, then none of you would stay alive. Stop him from reaching the tent." Ajarakum Allah, they tried to fight him, but they could not stand in front of him. So one of the enemies of Allah would hide behind a palm tree. He raised his sword. He cut Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas his right hand. Aywa Abbasa wa Sayyida wa Mazluma. He would shout, "Wallahi in qada'tum yamini, inni uhami abadan an dini, wa عن إمام صادق اليقين صبط النبي المصطفى الأمين." By Allah, if you cut off my right hand, I will forever stay protecting my religion and protecting my true Imam. Ajarakum Allah, he carried his sword in his left hand. He was approaching the tent. Another enemy of Allah would hide behind another palm tree. He raised his sword and cut Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas his left hand. Aywa Abbasa wa Sayyida wa Hussaina. He would shout, "Ya nafsu la takhshay min al-kuffar وابشري برحمة الجبار قد قطعوا ببغيهم يسار فاصلهم يا رب حر النار." Oh self, do not fear the infidels. They cut with their hate my left hand. Oh Lord, make them taste your hellfire. Ajarakum Allah. Al-Abbas had only one goal in his mind, and that is to bring the water to the tent. He would hug the water beaker. They would start throwing arrows, shooting arrows at Abel Fab. An arrow would come in his forehead, and another arrow would hit his eye, and another arrow would hit his chest, and another arrow would hit the water beaker. The water would spill. He would stop. He would say, I have no heart, no water. Ajarakum Allah. An enemy of Allah would hit Abel Fab with a ball on the head. Aywa Abbasa wa Sayyida wa Mazluma. Imagine Abel Fadl al-Abbas, this warrior, he would follow his horse. Abel Fadl al-Abbas would lie on the floor shouting, Brother Hussain, Brother Hussain, come to my aid. This was the first time he called Imam al-Hussein brother. Imam al-Hussein with Rashid bin Fadl al-Abbas. Ajarakum Allah. Al-Abbas, one of the arrows would come in his eye. The other eye, Ajarakum Allah, the blood would spill over it. He can't see. He hears someone by him. He would say, whoever you are, do not kill me. Wait for my brother Hussein to come. At that point, Imam al-Hussein would embrace Abul Fadl al-Abbas. He knew it was Aba Abdullah. Ajarakum Allah. Imam al-Hussein tried to carry him to the tent. Abul Fadl al-Abbas said to him, oh Hussein, keep me where I am. Don't take me back to the tent. He said to him, why Abbas? He said to him, I promise Sukaina with water. I have nothing with me. No arms, no water. I am shy to return everything. At that point, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein would place Abul Fadl al-Abbas his head on his lap. Al-Abbas would take his head off the lap of Imam al-Hussein. He tried the second time, he tried the third time. Imam al-Hussein said to him, oh Abul Fadl al-Abbas, why don't you allow me to put your head on my lap? He said to him, oh Hussein, now I have your lap to put my head on. But in an hour's time, when Shimmer would be sitting on your chest, his lap would you put your head on? Ajarakum Allah. Imam al-Hussein would stay by Abul Fadl al-Abbas until he would shout, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Then his soul would depart this world. Aywa Abbasa wa Sayyida wa Mazluma. This always breaks the heart. Imam al-Hussein would get up, he would say, now my back is broken. Now my back is broken, and my enemies feel victorious over for me. He would, Imam al-Hussein, he would go behind the army. He would start hitting them left and right. They would start running away. He would say to them, where are you running away? And you have just killed my brother. Where are you running away to? And you have killed the son of my father. Ajarakum Allah. Imam al-Hussein would return to the tent with a broken back. Lady Zainab would stand by the tent. She says to him, oh Aba Abdullah, where is my brother Abbas? Imam al-Hussein wouldn't answer. Do you know what he did? He went to the tent of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He would remove the pole from the tent of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. The tent would collapse on the floor. She would shout, wa Abbas. By the Euphrates, my brother Abbas, arrows filled his body, arrows in his eyes. And the wind on his head, the post describes, and from behind trees they cut off his hands. Lady Zainab would turn to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas with this, and I will ask for your du'as. She says to him, oh Abbas, you're sleeping. Oh Abbas, you're sleeping by the while women are crying and from fishing so Cain said water you had promised her. Don't be embarrassed over Fadl Abbas. Come back empty. Don't be shy. Return empty. We need a protector. Aywa Abbas. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Oh Allah, with these tears, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you by the best of your creation, by Fatima and her father and her husband and her children, Ya Allah, oh Allah. Whoever has a need, oh Allah, grant them their needs, Ya Allah, by Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Oh Allah, those hands that were cut off, we want our hajat from those hands, Ya Allah. Ask for your hajat. Oh Allah, whoever is ill, oh Allah, grant them shifa, Ya Arham ar-Rahimeen. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of Sahib al-Zaman and allow us to be amongst his supporters, Ya Arham ar-Rahimeen. After Ali and Imran, Ali and Nishan Ali, the sponsors of today's majlis. Oh Allah, protect them and protect their families. They need a special dua for their child, inshallah. We recite together and we turn to Allah. We call out to Him by the name of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Oh Allah, by the name of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. والله, remove all these trials and tribulations from us, Ya Allah. Show us of your mercy, Ya Allah. Grant these believers health and iman, Ya Allah. Allow us to be amongst those who stay steadfast on the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Allah. Allow us to be steadfast, to be of the mourners of Abu Abdullah, Ya Allah. For the marhumin of those who have attended, for the marhumin of the organizers, for the marhumin of the sponsors of these majalis, for the marhumin of Shi'at Amir al-Mu'mineen. We remember them all in a Surah Fatiha, but before it a very loud salawat.